So
you have to read your speech.
I'm just going to do this cold, no context, no.
Ladies and gentlemen, now presenting young good boy of the year, Mr. Michael Muller.
Hello, everyone. I want to start by saying congratulations to all the fellow recipients of the 2023 YPEL Award. I'm honored to be here alongside of you. I've been asked to speak on the theme of engagement tonight and what it means to both the community and to myself. The one thing you should know about Louisville Ale Trail, and my business partners and I would be happy to be the first to tell you, is that Louisville Ale Trail has very little to do with beer. It's less about what's in the glass and more about what's happening around the glass.
Oh, that's good.
The electrifying energy in the tap room.
I like this guy.
Maybe you're familiar with the term third spaces, places that aren't your job nor your house. They're meeting places. And I believe, and I've seen this for myself, that brewery tap rooms can act as communal hubs where individuals connect, share stories, and foster ideas. These tap rooms can evolve into platforms for civic engagement. A casual chat over a pint gives way to passionate discussions about community initiatives and contributions to Louisville, making this city an even better place to live.
Wow, that's so true.
As I said, we're not just here for the beer, we're here for the people, for the stories that each pint tells, and for the amazing connections that form when people come together to enjoy a common passion. We create platforms for dialogue, collaboration, and shared experiences, and we help turn these gatherings into opportunities for community improvement. For example, we're helping Monnik Beer Company put on a Dog Days of Summer event on August 5th that will benefit the Kentucky Humane Society by exchanging photos of dogs on beer cans for donations. At the end of September, we're hosting an Oktoberfest event alongside Louisville Downtown Partnership and Against the Grain Brewery that will benefit Coalition for the Homeless. These events didn't just come about through some structured ideation session or a corporate strategic planning meeting where generic charitable endeavors are often added to the agenda as another box to tick. They weren't born out of a SWOT analysis or decision matrix. They were derived from casual conversations at tap rooms with employees and owners, chatting about things we like and feel passionate about. I believe that many of us have seen firsthand how a simple happy hour can lead to discussions about local issues, how a brewery tour can turn into a fundraising event for a local charity, and how a bunch of beer nerds can become a powerful force for good in our community. I believe that's engagement at its finest and funnest. And the ripple effect for these engagements on our community has been a thrilling journey to witness. There's something profoundly satisfying about being part of something bigger, contributing to the positive vibe of our city, and watching our community grow stronger and more interconnected. So, if you'll indulge me, I'd like to leave you with a paraphrase from a personal hero of mine. Barbie. Louisville can be anything. This notion extends beyond our individual abilities and speaks to our collective strength as a community. When we gather and engage, even a simple conversation can serve as a catalyst for powerful change. You can choose a tap room like I did, or you can find your own space. Regardless, let's continue to connect, engage, and develop however we choose, shaping Louisville into the best version of itself. Cheers.
Yeah, so anyway, Michael won an award.
That's great.
I like it.
Yeah, this is awesome.
I like it.
I didn't know ChatGPT could write that well.
Also, did you just spoil Barbie for me?
In my old Kentucky home. Kentucky.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Kentucky Commons Radio Hour. I'm Michael Moeller, joined at Brewgrass Homebrew Supply in Louisville, Kentucky by one David Satterley,
Meow.
John Ronayne, fooling around with the cameras, and a special guest tonight, the field sales manager of Kentucky from Gravely Brewing Company, David Castellon.
Hey there, everybody.
David, thanks for joining us tonight.
Very excited to be here.
David, thanks for joining us tonight.
Very excited to be here.
David, thanks for joining tonight.
Very excited.
It's the other David I was talking about. We want to learn more about you, where you've been, what you're doing, where you want to go. But before we're going to start the show off the same way that we always like to start the show off with a speech from a YPEL award that apparently I give. No, we'd like to start off with a beer in hand that I think David brought as a special treat for us to share.
Yeah, I did. This is part of Monnik Beer Company's Classic series. As Michael mentioned, they're great advocates for the community. And one thing that they do that's really special in the beer realm is a lot of bottle conditioning. So John is very delicately uncorking this corking cage, Noel, which is their lavender ginger triple. I figured like Christmas in July. This is the 28th when we're filming this. So 26 actually. But it's a great beer. 9% straight up Belgian triple. This yeast is built off of 4 generations of other Belgian beers before it becomes this one. It's got a lot of good characteristics in it that you would expect. But shout out, Buddy, for continuing to make this beer. This has been a mainstay at Monnik. Everybody looks forward to it in the winter season.
Huge nose. As soon as I popped that cork, I started getting that lavender aroma off of there. And then just that nice little bright Belgian-y. It's a triple is the base, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I
And what year
figured-
did you say it was?
This is from
Last year?
2022, yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I figured this is probably something David hasn't had yet.
Oh, there's some fruit additions to this?
No.
It's
Just
nice.
fruity
It's
Belgian and lavender,
good
I
nose.
think.
Ginger, lavender.
Yeah,
that's
ginger,
it.
yeah. So they're I remember the first year they did this one. It was the same. Is Noel the same every year?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But this is bottle condition. It's pungent for the smell. Really smooth. Really deceptive for 9%.
Yeah, really warming. Nice to see a caged bottle.
And perfect for like 99 degrees outside that it is here in Kentucky today.
Well, it's Christmas in July. Cool down. It's you're right though. Cajun cork isn't a style that we get to see around too much anymore. Monnik is still cranking them out every so often. Buddy likes to do it. We did a collab on some barley wine with Buddy, and we did some wax seals, and that was fun on those bombers. So
These bottle condition expressions really do highlight a lot of beers. You're like, I don't want to sit this around too long. I'll forget about it. These are meant to sit for a little while. So like having this since winter, I can tell it's dramatically different just in the taste. of ginger is more pronounced. I think it's a little bit more.
It's a little
of
more
that, like,
candied ginger to me.
rindy,
Than it was. Yeah.
But I find it very enjoyable.
And I would say this beer's about in its prime. Like, this is hitting pretty dang good. It's got a little bit of age on it. It's smoothed out, the ABV, and like you said, everything's coming together. So more of these. These are great.
Yeah, good job.
So David, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the beer space.
So I started beer.
So
sorry,
now
my
you
bad.
Okay, so a little bit about my beer history. There was plenty of underage drinking before of craft beer.
In Minecraft.
Kidding. It did, though. There was a family burger shop in Eagle Rock that my buddy's parents owned called the Bucket, and we were allowed to drink entire pitchers of Stone Porter at a very young age. So that's my first introduction to craft beer, but my real first job was at Whole Foods in Pasadena. Right. At that time, that store was one of the largest outside of their Texas flagship store, and was handed off this beer department by somebody that was really special and would go on to work later in the beer world. Randy Clemens. He would go on to write the Stone Brewing book with Mitch Steele and Greg Cook. So he was my manager, and I was only 20 years old. He would have me taste beers behind the bar, made me spit them, made me tell people that I wasn't doing that behind the bar. But he would tell me, like, write notes. What does this remind you of? What have you had from your mom that she's cooked that reminds you of this beer? So it set me off on this whole different journey when it came to beer. By the time I was 21, I was an encyclopedia of beer. So then I was handed off that beer department. That beer department was the largest beer department outside of their flagship store in Texas as well.
Wow.
And that's when suppliers and distributors came knocking. At that time, Golden Road.
What's the time frame here?
Yeah, but how old
This
were
is
you?
like around 2009. So I'm 34. And yeah, I've been in the beer game since 20 years old.
Nice.
During that time, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of the controversial brewery Golden Road.
Oh, yeah.
So we were selling 80% of their product out of two Whole Foods, Glendale and my store in Pasadena. So I was trying to ask for a raise at Whole Foods, and it wasn't going to happen. $2 was apparently too much. So then I started asking the beer community, I'm like, I'm ready to get out of Whole Foods. And they were like, want to come to distro? We're going to give you a car, give you a salary, adult salary. And I was like, are you kidding me? A car and an expense account? Like, let's rock and roll. So I was tasked to open up the craft beer route in Los Angeles for the Miller Coors House. So from downtown LA to Redondo Beach was my beat.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was the beginning.
That's probably a lot of accounts.
A ton.
Yeah.
But it was also awesome just handpicking the accounts, getting to know what retailers, what bar owners were going to be the real people that are going to move craft beer forward in Los Angeles. And I mean, it was in its infancy completely.
What was hot at the time?
Yeah.
At the time, I mean, there was Eagle Rock Brewing, around that same time, my brother-in-law was trying to build his blendery down in Carson. Beechwood was getting off the ground. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's so much beer happening down in Los Angeles to give that timeline. It's insane. But yeah, a lot going on. I mean, at that time frame, to be honest, actually, San Diego beer was the big beer. San Diego and San Francisco, which would essentially lead me to a different job after that in San Francisco. But yeah.
So did I hear you that the Miller Coors distribution was distributing craft there as well?
Yeah, so it was the first iteration of craft distribution in Los Angeles. So we had brands like Drake's in San Leandro, bootleggers out of Orange County. Golden Road was fresh on the beat.
Golden Road was fresh.
Yeah, so we were basically just up against the Stone Brewing model, the Stone distribution model there. We were basically the other guys. It was great time to be in beer, great time to be 23 years old, running around town, all parts of LA, just spreading the gospel of craft beer. Some places that are still carrying the torch to this day.
And then you eventually made your way up north to San Fran?
So I stayed in Los Angeles, but yes, there was like a baseball trade situation that happened. Yeah, like they were like, this guy's gonna go work for New Belgium. He's gonna go work against us. So like, either keep him at Anchor. He's gonna make money for your distro. You guys know the guy. He's worked internally for you guys. So like, what's holding it up? So it didn't. Nothing held it up. It was rock and roll. So yeah, 26 years old, I started with Anchor Brewing.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that like? Did you kind of have an appreciation for the brand, having been in the beer world for, as long as you have been? That's like pretty much the most iconic American brewery, in my opinion.
I mean, you said encyclopedia before you turned 21.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time you've actually been out and hit these like spots and understood kind of the culture around there, I mean, by 26, you're seasoned.
Yeah. I mean, I think my first trip to Anchor Brewing was at 22, 23 years old. A couple of buddies of mine had a task to hit up 15 breweries in 5 days in Northern California. So that included everything from Sierra Nevada, in Chico, Anchor, Lagunitas, Racer, Bear Republic. Tremendous trip, one for the ages. I still think about that trip quite a bit. And I was going through the Rolodex of pictures, trying to remind my history in beer. And yeah, it's really special that I got to go to that brewery when I was a youngster, and then ended up a couple years later working for that iconic brewery.
Racer 5 is a throwback.
Oh man, it's classic. I think that's the first IPA I had that I was like, okay, I'm never looking back. Like, I'm an IPA guy.
Awesome. And then at Anchor, what was your role?
So at Anchor, I was responsible for the LA County market. So everything's Malibu down to San Clemente. Or Long Beach. Long Beach was a cutoff. Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was more about giving history lessons. This is during a time where beer was getting really hype. Touting around an Old Common beer was definitely not the hottest beer to tout around in Los Angeles at the time.
You're in good company.
Yeah, so I think that was what made it special. I was just listening to a couple interviews with Fritz Maytag, and it made me recall the times that I was working for that brewery. It didn't feel like work. It was just giving the history of craft beer in America, and something that's so like steam beer is so American. Fritz Maytag, that story, that brewery, guys. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever taken a tour of that place, but I consider it the best tour in craft beer. It is multi-layered. The tanks are sideways. It's an old coffee roastery that shouldn't have been a brewery. The open fermenters are so special.
The tanks are horizontal?
Yeah.
It's a cool ship style or whatever it is, right?
The cool ships that they have there. So I used to give my own private tours of Anchor. And I would encourage people to walk into the cool ships and scratch your head, leave a little bit of your DNA in that beer. It's super special. A little saddened with the current news. Yeah.
Well, since we have you here, we talk a lot on the Kentucky Commons Radio Hour podcast about the Kentucky Commons style. But if you've done it this many times, could you give us like your 60, 90 second kind of history of the California Common?
The California Common. See, that's what's complicated, man. The 30-60, with Fritz Maytag, like, what part do you like take out? What part do you leave in? I think at one point there was all common beer all throughout the country before lagering was a thing. But I actually like the story that Fritz tells, where it's the technology of Pilsner arrived to the States. So everybody was drinking Pilsner lager good beer, and their beer was called quick beer, steam beer, but they took that on as a badge of honor. I was like, yeah, it is steam beer. It's made here in San Francisco. You can only find it here. We're the last ones making it. And at that point, he was also the most foremost expert in beer and craft beer in brewing at the time in the country. So yeah, I don't know if that explains it, John,
Sure.
but it's just
Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard two stories too about what steam beer actually means. And so you were saying it's reference to quick.
So steam beer itself, so the story goes, there's like 4 different iterations of why it's called steam beer, but the one that I like the most, it's during the nighttime would be the perfect time to cool down your wort. So they would send it up to your top floor in the cool ships and just watch the steam rise up to the top of the brewery. And that hence steam beer.
The other ones that I heard were the steam engines were what they were using to start transporting it around the country.
Steam,
and then steam jacketed
steam was
tons.
used for everything. So it's like steam powered. This was put before anything. That was like a source of marketing. So yeah, there's several different. There's also a story that they would have a steam hissing type when you would bung,
Never
when you
heard
would
that one
tap
either.
that one in. Like yeah, it was. There's a whole.
But at the end of the day, it's all just hot air.
It's just hot air. Nicely
That's
done.
why I'm here.
Nicely done.
I actually thought of that like 2 weeks ago. We've been waiting to have you on the podcast.
So
So yeah, thanks guys.
So what are your thoughts on what's currently happened or happening to Anchor?
So I mean, I went through this once before when the Sapporo company took over Anchor, and basically just dismantled the core group that made Anchor what Anchor was. That iconic brewery that kind of always sat at the end of that tap list or at that bottle list. That was us kind of just being there, reminding people that there's something American here. But ask me that question again.
Just what are your current thoughts on what's happening right now, or what did happen?
It's sad because it's one of those places that I always thought I was just gonna be there forever. And I always thought I was like, yeah, I'll take people from Kentucky one day and like show them around the fermenters and get them to see Fritz Maytag's loft, then how he has his own shower up there, which is really cool. But yeah, like now knowing that it's probably not going to be there, it's a tough pill to swallow. I got a little more emotional than I thought I was going to go. Thought I was going to be, especially looking through all those pictures and all that time I spent working for them. It was
Well, kind of like you say, I think you like the Anchor Christmas beer, and you would drink that one as kind of a regular thing. But I think a lot of people just weren't buying Anchor like as much as they were, obviously. But what you said about it kind of being more of like a historical monument than it is necessarily even about the beer at this point, that really resonates with me. And I do want to. I don't know if this ever came anywhere. If you guys know more or less than me, but the employees. Was there a workers' union there?
right.
The workers' union, I think, is trying to raise funds to basically get enough, and then maybe like put some like social pressure on the owners and everything to give them a good deal to basically just buy assets of just the brew house. To basically, they could keep it going as a production brewery, but they would change the business model to be more of like a museum and a historical place that still makes beer, obviously, but doesn't really worry about national distribution and XYZ, sales rates and whatever. So we'll put a link to that in the show notes, assuming that they're still doing that. I think they are. I made a note. I'm going to put it there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
I hope they come through with that. It's I always said that Sapporo was not necessarily in the beer business. It's in the real estate business. So pawning off a really great piece of land in San Francisco right now is, it's a little,
It's a good call.
Yeah.
But it is like, it's supposed to be like beloved. I mean, this is the last actual manufacturing company in San Francisco. So it's actually producing something.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
So it's like it's a point of rallying for me, I think, and for the people of San Francisco in general. But yeah, I'm curious how this is all going to play out. This is interesting. I mean, I'm super stoked to have worked for them and having gone all that experience and getting to see these movements that I think are coming to craft beer in general. I mean, we're seeing this, right? Like Founders or Bell's got picked up. It's coming.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
like understanding that like it is that landmark, it's not unlikely that someone else will step into those shoes.
So yeah, there was some. I'm not supposed to be talking about this, but yeah, there was some closed door conversations at Sierra that hopefully will turn up positive here for
Cool.
the Anchor Brewing Company.
Yeah, I think it's important to, like you said, as a historical monument landmark, there are so many people that are like, oh no, I'm so sad Anchor's closing. And it's like, well, when was the last time you bought it? And
Yeah,
they're like,
totally
well,
true.
it's been a while. And that's not to diminish the product or what it is, because it's fantastic. But the saturation that is the beer market right now is just impossible to. I can't go and, I guess I could, but if I go into the store every Thursday and buy a 6-pack of Anchor, it's not realistic.
Yeah.
But again, you hate to see these things fade away into ether because of
Changing market trends.
Yeah,
and,
changing market
Yeah.
trends.
Yeah, I think they took on a big bite over there at Anchor. Working when I worked with them, it was quite an operation. Just seeing some of the salaries that were being handed out to certain marketing persons that weren't necessarily bringing any value to the company. Apologies to whoever actually listens to this podcast in California that worked in that team up
You
there.
already know.
Sorry.
You know.
But I got to be honest, man. I think that was part of like the writing on the wall. Like, guys, this is not self-sustainable. Because you're right. Like, yeah, nobody's picking up a daily 6-pack of Anchor Steam.
But the hyper local, like the idea that I could fly out there
Yes,
and
dude.
go to Anchor
Yes,
is
dude.
extremely appealing. If I couldn't get it here,
It's-
and if there was a history and a story,
it's beautiful.
Which is a huge regret because I was in San Francisco 2-3 months ago. Wanted to go there. It was on my list. It was on my short list. Didn't get to go.
And you went to Russian River.
And I went to Russian.
You son of a bitch.
I mean,
You're the reason for this,
Russian River,
Michael.
yeah.
Yeah.
Get some Pliny. But seriously, guys, the brewery is just gorgeous. It's skylines. Fritz Maytag purposely built the offices around the brew house. So it just, I mean, every beer is whole cone hopped. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I can't speak of it. Yeah.
And the time that he was like building all that stuff too was a super cool time, and just like American architectural styles, and like I mean, yeah,
super Art Deco.
Deco, right? Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. And that fits in perfectly with like when San Francisco was a lot of the buildings down there in that style, the stuff that made it through like the earthquakes and stuff. But yeah, it would be a goddamn shame to see that get turned into like a Verizon superplex or some shit.
Right.
And now you're in Kentucky.
I'm in Kentucky. Yeah. There was a couple other beer jobs in between. I worked for Stone Distribution down in LA. So worked for them in the Venice Beach area, which was really fun. Going out to Venice Beach every day is
Selling a
really
Keystone
fun.
Light, was that their main? That was the
Oh,
main
yeah.
product.
Oh, geez. That was
I
a
can't
weird-
remember.
That was a weird moment.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
So yes, distributed for them. They also got some brass in there from Red Bull to work for them, and they just started changing everything up as well. And I'm like, okay, I see the writing on the wall again. Time to step out. And right around that time, thankfully, Jack Dyer out of Topa Topa in Ventura County was looking to expand the brewery down to Los Angeles County, and they needed a trustworthy dude to do it down in LA. So I got the phone call and worked for them for about 3 years. Great time working with them. Great brewery out of Ventura County. Good surfer, hikey vibes, like that whole, outdoorsy, surfy vibes. Great beer. All those brewers were born out of the whole Stone Brewing class. So yeah, great beer. They're still doing great in Los Angeles. So glad I left them in good place.
And then what was it like coming to Kentucky? What was your first job when you came here, and what timeline was that on?
And what brought you here?
What brought me out here was we were traveling out here to Kentucky prior to the pandemic, and we were having a blast every time we were coming out of Louisville, and we were noticing how Louisville was just growing in this awesome direction. So once COVID hit, we were like, okay, let's try to find a house in California, and that's not a thing.
That's not a
That's not a thing. It's not a thing at all. There was houses with literally no doors on a restroom for $800,000. So we were like, okay, this has got to change.
It's a bargain.
Yeah, steal really. You're in Highland Park. So yeah, we bought a house out here, but before that, rumor got around in Los Angeles that I was moving to Kentucky, and this Kyle out of the Sunset Beer Company, that's no longer there because LA is whack. He found out I was moving to Kentucky, and he's like, my sister owns a brewery out there, right?
Oh,
I'm like,
nice.
what? And I'm like, okay. So then I sat down, had a Power Chord West Coast IPA that was brewed by Nick, and I was like, yeah, I can do this. So yeah, Nathaniel offered job to me to do the sales job here for the state of Kentucky, and it's been a blast ever since, man. Getting to explore every crevice of Kentucky has been pretty fun, man.
So Nick is your sister?
Yes.
I got it.
My
Yeah.
bearded sister.
Oh shucks.
Shucks.
I'll say
I
it
was
since
a little
since he
confused on
can't.
that, but it's
No, man, I'm really stoked for Nick. Nick is actually why I'm really stoked to work for that brewery, man. I mean, his passion for the German style brewing is awesome. It really kind of just resonates for every other style. So make my hazy a little bit lighter, drinkable, keep pumping out a dark Czech lager because that's dope. And also, like, my palate's changed since moving here, guys. This has been the best thing about moving to Kentucky is like I drink now with the seasons. Looking forward to a Dunkelweiss, man.
Yeah, preach.
Like really looking forward to that.
Well, growing up on pitchers of porter, you have to have the time in your season for that.
I was concerned that you kept drinking after pictures of Stone Porter. You're like, this is what I want to do. And I'm like, I don't know.
Well, we were talking about how good Gravely's beers are. You want to crack
Yeah,
a little bit of
let's
some of the stuff we brought?
So yeah, this is gonna be my first time having this batch. Actually, guys, I'm really proud of this. So last year, Oompah was still being made at Taft's. Now every single drop of beer from Gravely is being produced in the great city of Louisville. And it's super fresh. This was just canned by the boys last week.
So Oompah's your Oktoberfest. This is the first Oktoberfest I've had of the year. I'll tell you guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was wondering who was going to be first.
I know. I saw
So-
Rheingeist's in the cooler over at Liquor World for the first time today. That was the first one I'd seen. This is the first one I'll be drinking.
Against the Grains is
So-
out too.
Is
Really?
it?
So that's
Yeah.
why I did it. We did a planning where like we got to keep up with the big boys, dude. Like they're putting out their beers like way early.
I asked,
and
I asked, I was like, why are you doing this? Like, it's not even September yet. And they're like, this is when the big guys do it. So this is what we're following.
Bruh, Anchor Christmas Ale used to get brewed like now.
Mhm.
Like, so I'm used to this. So I'm bringing it out just because we need more exposure. Nick is super talented. This is a great, beer. I need people to try this.
Well, you're going to start seeing Christmas stuff on the shelves in like 6 weeks. So you might as well get your Oktoberfest out now.
No, that makes sense. I mean, because the average consumer, even if it's in November, they see an Oktoberfest and they're just like, that can't be good anymore. And no, it's gonna be fine, but like their mind's already on to something else.
I just don't want them to reach out for that Sam Adams when they have a local option. So that's my whole point here is like, let's put up the Kentucky beer next to every single one of these big boys. And trust me, we're going to get a little bit more action than they are because they want something local and
Mhm.
fresh.
Well, it's an excellent beer. So just obviously, to me, it drinks. What is this? Is a higher 5.8% ABV. We did a blind.
I was about to say,
Yeah, go for it.
You go,
I think
you
we,
go
I
ahead,
think we
but
rated Gravely's pretty high. Like we tasted. There
we
was.
did a blind tasting of Oktoberfest.
You remember when like the
last
memes
year.
were like people would do like a box with like straws shoved through the top? So we did that with a whole bunch of Oktoberfests. Viewers and listeners can go back and maybe you'll be able to remember quicker than we can. But
Let's
I
see.
think we all really liked Gravely's Blind.
I think so too. There was 2 like rubber hoses, and me and John were just drinking out of both of
It's
them.
like a Lady and the Tramp style.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very rapid
wish I was
succession.
And then meanwhile, they'd also get like bubbles of air into their stomach.
Yeah, there was
That's a
like
lot of burping.
There was a lot of burping.
that was tough.
And then
Uh,
we
Tough pod to
You
listen
know,
to.
it's rare that I remember how a beer tasted, especially like a year ago. But I can say that this is better. Than,
Oh yeah, dude, 100%.
It's very light. It's, very drinkable.
light.
Yeah.
It's got that Munich little
Mhm.
touch in it, but it's not a bite.
It drinks almost like a fest beer, but it has like the ABV of a proper Marzen or Oktoberfest. So yeah.
And I love the description on this.
Yeah.
Oompah. Fun fact: it takes 3 cans of our fest beer to fill 1 German Stein. So go hoist one up. Prost.
Good facts.
So you gotta get a couple Steins filled with 1 6-pack.
That's right.
And I've bought steins of this at Gravely.
That's right.
Yes.
Because if you ask the bartender nice enough, they'll be like, oh yeah, we do have steins.
Oh yeah.
I always forget about that because then I do the opposite. I'm just like, I just want a half pour.
Yeah.
And which is, by the way, I love that about Gravely because I can get pretty much any beer in any size that I want, whether it's like a little sampler size or hey, I just want like a little 8-ounce pour.
Great staff too. Shout out to the staff.
And did we talked about the caves when Nick was on, I think. But if you guys haven't been to Gravely, we're talking about the old, traditions of brewing with Anchor and stuff like that. But if you go to Gravely, you'll see that they have the old like lagering or common beer aging or whatever caves that like you preserve.
No
You can sit out there.
longer in use, but
Yeah, it's like a museum
it's
piece.
the historic Phoenix Brewery, I think it was.
Yes.
It was.
Yeah.
That's
Phoenix
the,
Hill Brewing
Phoenix
Company.
Hill. Yep.
And I'm glad you brought that up, John, because I feel like that was like kind of also the like okay, I'm in the right spot, like another historic little spot. Like this is great.
Yeah.
What changes have you seen over at Gravely over the last year that you feel comfortable just talking about? Because I mean, they've always been great, but like I feel like they're on a different level now too.
It's great, guys.
They're
Like
moving.
the team that we've assembled now with Sean and Will,
The cats.
it's so great. I went from Andrew and Nick, and got to be honest, like when I first got there was like some days at the brewery didn't smell like a brew house, and now we are brewing every day. That place is it's great, man. It's good times, good scene, guys. Like out in Louisville here, it's a good beer scene.
And still doing like all the, like traditional Oktoberfest and stuff like that. But like you said, like Power Chord is freaking amazing. Just a great IPA. You guys always have like a hazy. The Blood Orange IPA is actually really good. I always enjoy that one. And then recently, your all's Mambo Italian Pilsner. I think we've talked about that on the show before, but like, getting to like the little tall, skinny like pint of that sitting
So
on your
good.
all's porch like that's a mood that I recommend.
Still the best patio.
Oh yeah, best patio in
One
town.
of us. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love bringing people from out of town to have some mambo and go up to that patio upstairs, and it just always wins. Yeah, it's a good time.
I love Louisville. I have made it my business to love Louisville, and so whenever anybody comes into town, like I know that they're going to probably love Louisville, but I know that and very aware that we have little weird intricacies like, oh, where'd you go to high school? And weird questions like that. So when you first moved here, did anything just like make you scratch your head? Like, what did I miss?
I don't know.
It ain't LA.
The people here have been more like intrigued, like, what's going on with you, man? Like, how did you get here? So then it just ends up being a conversation about myself most of the time, which hey, like, whatever, I invite it, I can talk about myself all day. But no, people are terrific, man. Yeah.
Were there any like stereotypes of Kentucky that you had? I'll give you my stereotypes of like West Coast people. Lazy, you like to surf, you're high or like blitzed out of your mind. What are the Kentucky stereotypes like out on the West Coast?
Well, they were just like, so how many acres do you have?
Okay, yeah,
like,
yeah.
are you like, do you have like a bar next to you? Like, are you okay?
How much chicken are you eating? How many
it's
shoes
like,
are you
how's
wearing?
the fried chicken out there? It's like that. You guys are dumb. No, but bringing anybody out from LA out here though, it's always a blast. They love the the city, small town feel. But the best thing of all is the 10-minute trip to the airport.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Or
then
10
getting
minutes
out.
to anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yes, it's pretty awesome.
So we're tossing around the idea for my 30th birthday to do the entire Louisville Ale Trail in one day.
All right, you're tossing around this idea. Like,
It's
I've
gonna
already.
happen.
I'll be a part of that.
But it's like, how could you possibly manage it? And I'm like, well, they're all like
You can get from J-Town
2
to downtown
minutes
in
away.
15 minutes.
Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it won't take any time.
I
From
grew up on the
Gravely.
405. Like the 405 was like hour and 20 minutes home was kind of a regular situation. So yeah, if I had to go from Malibu to home, it was brutal.
One of the things I've always really appreciated about Louisville is the access to Underberg. That is, we don't really get that in other places.
Segue, bud.
Thank you. Yeah. You like that? Nice. What did you have an experience of Underberg before you moved here?
I love Underberg.
Yeah.
Shout out to Walt's Bar in Eagle Rock, California, for like really driving the Underberg home. Oh, actually, and my shout out to Martin from Pivot.
Yeah.
Also made Underberg a real staple at his pizzeria down in Long Beach.
Nice.
And
Hope
he'll
it's a
probably do it
staple at
again at his new
Misfits.
place. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, we
Shout out to the Misfit Lou.
This is a regular part of our show is when we take a little bit of a berg break. We've had some good beers so far tonight, and before we continue, it's just nice to kind of settle the stomach for a second. Do you have any fun facts about Underberg that you just know off the top of your head?
They have the best. That bullet belt is the greatest thing
Like,
ever.
You have a bandolier, don't you?
Bandolier, yeah.
Ah man, that's
The
great.
Bergdolier,
Jeez.
whatever.
Lucky dude.
How many generations of excellence would you say they have?
Tell me, please.
At least five.
Five
Yeah.
generations of excellence.
Wow.
It's the
more than
digestive with herbs from 43 different countries. It's unwrapped with pleasure. You have a good meal, and you're just like, yeah, I'm into this.
I just unwrapped mine. I'm pretty happy right now.
The
guys. I
pleasure
gotta
is
tell- I'm not gonna I'm glad that the table is here.
I'm just saying, like, I'm doing this like cleanse, and it's got clove and wormwood
Mhm.
in it, and also the thing that you give dogs to deworm them. But this is much better.
Cures
This
COVID.
is- this is much better on my stomach. This is much better on my digestion.
Yeah.
You know, I love it.
I mean, it's 175 years old. You know it's going to be good. I mean, that's
I have a
just all-
technique for drinking this. Do you guys?
I think we
Please,
all do, but
please.
share yours.
Okay.
Yes.
I just like to do the slight tilt.
Okay.
That's it.
A little. Oh.
The real winners are at Knock Bar, though. At Knock Bar, they slap a little straw in there.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It's like a weird Capri Sun or something like that.
It's an adult Capri Sun.
Thanks,
Oh.
Hindenburg.
I won't tell you
Thanks,
my
Andy.
technique because I'm pretty sure I stole it from Michael.
Is it the butt chug technique?
I was going to just say
Okay.
that. I think
Yeah.
John stole it.
No,
Yeah,
what
sorry,
I
sorry.
do is
It's going to be more graphic, but
I put it. I started doing this where I just kind of put it in my teeth,
Boomderberg.
yeah.
but then I let it pool underneath my tongue first. So then I just take it all at once right afterwards. So
It's
it's
hitting
like
hard.
it's like a shot right after that.
You
But-
you exhale before you
Yeah.
swallow.
Yeah.
There's a whole technique.
You also
Multiple
Thunderbird,
techniques.
thanks.
You all some pours. I do mine. I want the chalice. So coming soon, we'll do a chalice berg.
Yeah, those are nice.
I mean, you guys should get the outdoor patio, and that's how we should be podcasting on the Underberg patio.
Ooh,
Okay.
I like it.
Ooh, I like the idea of having a Underberg patio, like a patio
Oh
sponsored.
yeah,
by
there's a
Underberg.
patio set. There's like the chairs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. Okay.
Lounge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or driving
Let
around
me
like
know,
in
yeah.
the bus, do
I
a
wanna be in the
podcast
lounge
from the
episode.
Underberg bus.
That sounds fantastic. Well, we'd also like to go ahead and do our next show and tell segment. I believe you've shared some beers with us already from Gravely. Did David explain to you what this segment was?
No.
What do you mean? What
Did you? Oh
David,
yeah.
David.
I'm supposed to show something that I like
You're
or love. That's
besmirching
not beer,
our
right?
name.
We always ask our guests to bring two things to share. One of which is, some beer or alcohol or something spirits related, because we know that's what you guys are all here for. But sometimes it's a fun way to get to know a guest, something, because we all do beer all day, every day. But you have to have some other passions. You have to have some other things that kind of are against that or round you out as a human being.
Totally.
Otherwise, you end up,
Totally. And I apologize for not being able to bring a separate beer. I'm a big aficionado of I'm sounding like a douchebag, but I love lambics. Would have loved to have brought one of my lambics from my cellar, but that's still in California.
I would have brought one.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
my
we like lambics
parents
too.
are the only ones that have a basement in Los Angeles, so I'm still selling a lot of Cantillon.
So what
down
you're
there.
telling me is you have a beer collection in your parents' basement.
Yes.
Fuck yeah, dude, let's
Cantillon,
go.
Prefontaine,
You're
yeah.
a peak.
Yeah. But what I brought to show and tell today was a program from the Speed Museum. Shout out to Dean Otto at the Speed Museum for curating such an awesome program over there. Coming from Los Angeles, I'm a big film guy. Love going to movies. Used to go to Quentin Tarantino's movie theater to see a lot of the premieres there on film. But really just we're so fortunate to have the Speed Museum in Louisville. Dean Otto just does a terrific job programming the place. Just got to watch a documentary last week on Max Roach. I don't know much about jazz, but man, that just blew me away. And just very stoked that I feel like this is bubbling here, the film industry.
Oh yeah.
You're having Flavor Film Festivals coming up soon.
There's like 4 movies being filmed.
Yeah.
So
right now.
to that point, there's a reason for that, and not it's city funding, but I can kind of put all this on one singular person in town. Her name's Susie Eastman.
Yes, I follow her on Facebook. She's awesome.
Susie's amazing. She's kind of the ambassador, director of Film 502, which is a nonprofit whose entire mission is to bring film to Louisville and to promote the film industry within Louisville. So we have all these movies coming into town. That's due to different tax breaks that are now available for the films and for the producers who want to film here. And yes, as you said, this is now like bustling, and we're about to see it really take off.
Yeah, I think there was like around 6,000 people working on productions here in Louisville proper, and love for those people to just continue to keep working and add more jobs. It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And Michael was one of them.
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah, shout out to background extras. They
Really?
they're important parts of the film. A lot
All right,
of
what movie were you in, Michael?
I was not in any movie yet. It's going to be Queen of the Ring, the Millie story, one of the premier female wrestlers of her time. I filmed a little small scene at the Conrad Caldwell House in
Very
Old
nice.
Louisville. I got to dress up in a 3-piece suit, and I got to stand next to a pool table as some women were hustling this man, and as she sunk in the final, 8-ball, I had to just react.
So you can find Michael's IMDb page.
Yes.
I'll go give him 5 stars.
I'm gonna start his wiki page.
But not to derail that, I just want to say, yes, film in Louisville is taking off, and shout out to Susie. We'd love to have you on the podcast. We've talked about it before. Hopefully we can make that happen soon. Tell us about that experience, though.
Just to be honest, it's just not the one singular experience. It's just every experience that I have there. It's seriously just the best programming in town. We are in need of an art house in town, but right now the speed is fulfilling that 100%. Would love a movie to play not at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. on a Friday, but we got to take what we can get. And I think this is great. This is I love it. I love where we're going here in Louisville. Louisville's the place to be.
And for people listening too, I think it's still free Sunday at Speed, right?
It's free on Sundays.
Yeah.
Thanks
you gotta wait.
Thanks to Brown Foreman.
Brown
Yeah.
Foreman.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Way to go, Brown Foreman.
Yeah, I think you still have to pay for certain exhibits, maybe that the screenings as well. But otherwise, if you haven't been to the Speed Museum or if you haven't been in a while, go.
Oh, they did like a whole multi-million-dollar because everybody, if you're like me, the last time you were there was like when you were in high school and you went on a class trip. And if you
I'm not like you.
You're fancy.
I went there last month.
Yeah, I've been there in the past 2 months. It's their installations are phenomenal. I could go back again and look at the same thing, and kind of have different perspective on it. And it's multi-floored, multi-tiered. As Michael mentioned, there are exhibits that travel. It does cost a little bit, but you're donating to the continuation of this excellent product.
Yeah, and since this Dean Otto's had started the programming there. We now have a writer at the Leo also writing for film reviews, which is great. I'm blanking out on her name. That's bumming me out, but shout out to her. She's great.
Rucker? No,
not sure, but she's awesome too. Which is just bringing a lot more attention, and I can't wait for that studio to get built out here too. It's going to bring more of that action out here.
Yeah, they're turning the Louisville Gardens into a film stage and sound stage and productions. They're doing everything that you need to run a film, costume areas. They are putting this all into the old Louisville Gardens, which is where the Rolling Stones used to play, I think, one time, and they used to have Muhammad Ali box there, and it's been just sitting vacant for decades at this point, and they're about to put a bunch of money into it and create something really special for all of us.
Exciting place to be.
I also have a little gift.
I've been really scared about this.
No. This is good. This is good. Now, I will admit, this gift is from me to Louisville Ale Trail, which also just means from me to John and David. I was not expecting to be here tonight, so I was just going to I expected just for you all to open this on your own.
Thanks, Ted Kaczynski.
And then that's a terrible joke.
Yeah, well, sorry.
Yikes.
We'll edit that in post.
I don't think Sarah knows who that is.
Yeah, I I don't need to.
Yeah,
No, you
it's
don't.
all right.
I just need to know that this gift.
Yeah. So I was expecting just to watch your reactions on the podcast later. I'm happy to be here in person.
That's a terrible joke now, especially with you saying that. All right. I take it back.
So yeah, I'll let David do the honors of opening that up.
Don't shake it.
Yeah. Do you like the painter's tape as my?
It's classy.
Yeah.
It's classy.
Yeah.
It's very Art Deco.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely not.
Totally. Yeah.
I don't know what this is.
I'm seeing the blue cross of the Illuminati.
I see.
It's in a liquor bottle shaped box or a beer. It's a. Walk us through your experience, David.
I do know what this is. This is a box that is black and it has black writing all over it, and it says "You crushed it."
You bought the fucking
from
thing.
the CBMA,
You son of a
presented
bitch.
by the Bev Pros Craft Beer Marketing Awards. We got our motherfucking crushy.
When you win a marketing
Nice.
award, it's a marketing ploy to get you to buy an award. This is kind of the lesson that we've learned.
Oh,
That's how a
This
lot of things
little
work.
hand
That's
holding
pretty
a
cool,
tiny
though.
beer.
that's pretty sweet.
This is fantastic. It's got little beer tattoos all over the arm.
Is that going to grace the?
It is just
Yeah,
set
of course.
it's just
Well,
absolutely murdering the can in its hand. Its hand isn't much bigger than mine, but I do appreciate it.
You've got big hands.
Now this is for the Platinum Award that we got, which was a global
Global award.
in the best
Best beer trail.
best beer trail category
In the world.
in the world. That's what we won
Guys,
back
this is
during
huge.
CBC. And we went through the process. I could not just stand back and not have the hardware that accompanied
Yes.
that moment. And
I could
guess
have.
what? You can take the base off and it becomes a tap
I
handle.
was about to say,
Get
yeah.
outta here. They
I
thought
think
of
I think
everything.
it's right here.
It's magnetic. Just pull it.
Or a toy for intimacy.
Look at this.
Okay, that's awesome.
This is going on at tap
All right, that's-
handles.
We got a kegerator
Freaking
back here. We can
awesome.
have it live like in the.
Do you want to touch my
Studio.
crushy?
I do.
Thank you.
Whoa.
I will say that the foam cutout is way funnier
Yeah,
than
yeah.
the award itself.
This is going to live here now for every podcast.
And I do
probably, right?
like now appreciate Sam Cruz's joke about calling it a fisty award. So that's yeah. Shout out.
Listen, at the end of the day, we won something really cool. I think we should be proud of that. I don't, we could have just had the memory and gone with that, but I really wanted the hardware for it. So this was something I wanted to give to Louisville Ale Trail.
It's really good that you bought it because I was like 2 days away from buying it. So it's like,
Tax write off. It is a tax write off, I think, right?
I don't know.
this is
Yeah,
fantastic.
probably.
I don't know how that
We
works.
did
Figure
win
that
this award. We submitted for it, and when you brought it up, me and John were like, "That's a thing."
Yeah.
And we're like, "What's gonna happen? What if we lose? So we're gonna be crushed."
And now we are.
And now we crushed it.
And then we crushed
Crushed
it on a
it.
platinum level.
Nice.
That award show was equal parts hilarious and excellent. And I really love the
That was
fact
a,
that we still won.
Craft Brewers Conference down in Nashville.
Yeah,
It's like
down in Nashville.
it was at the same time as that.
Yeah, do you guys want to give speeches?
Yeah, I was
for
going to
your
say,
award?
now it's
Oh,
your
do you have
turn.
another-
Go
do you have
ahead,
another
guys.
speech?
John, do you want to
We would like to thank No Other Beer Trails for entering this very.
Hey, no. I
That's
know
not
for
true.
a fact that there were plenty.
No, there was a second and a third and a fourth place
Yeah.
winner. So
I think
we at
you're- I
least
think
beat
you're-
3 people.
Discounting the fact that for those who don't know, I mean this whole Louisville Ale Trail was started with months and months of planning between the three of us, and it took John learning Illustrator skills and us gathering assets and figuring out how to talk and organize. At the time, maybe 15 to 17 different businesses together to kind of explain this concept.
What year was this?
That would have been
The planning stages started in 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
And then we actually officially launched in 2020, but only because
Thanks, COVID.
COVID. We I think we were almost ready to launch in February 2020. That would have been rushing it a little bit, but then
We would have been fine, but kind of the time away stalled it a little bit. And then when we finally lifted off in 2021, we not only had to add many more pages to the passport because despite COVID, Louisville continued to grow and operate breweries. But yeah, I mean, if you pick up one of these passports, it's literally hand designed by the three of us.
I don't think we've ever plugged our passport on this podcast.
I don't
before.
think so either.
We should do
Damn
it.
It took me.
Oh, wait a
think so
second, guys. Did you know that we're actually not
But
just
this wasn't a city or state or government funded thing. This is something we all sat down and argued about and yelled
and
at each other.
literally had
and-
no money.
you know why we meet on podcasts on Wednesdays? Because we have our regular Ale Trail meeting on Wednesdays already.
See.
And so we spend time just like already here together. And we're like, well, we should start like recording some of these thoughts to like let off steam and have some fun media like projects and stories to tell.
Makes sense. Good deal.
Yeah.
So it's
So
been fun.
We want to crush you.
explore Louisville one beer at a time.
But I will say, yes, I am very thankful and grateful for the award. I have some private thoughts that I'm happy to share with the competition organizers on how to conduct those types of awards in person at CVC. And we'll just leave it at that.
Really?
Sure.
Oh man.
I hope you're listening because I have thoughts. Otherwise, thank you. Yeah. I believe there's some Louisville news though.
Yeah, we're all over Louisville this podcast, but we do have a ton of cool events coming up. I mean, the fall is always the busy season. But
It is a busy season.
I have all my weekends are booked up.
yeah, it's festival season, and luckily this year we're putting on like 4 of them. So we're talking a little bit about some of the things we're involved with. As Michael mentioned in his wonderful speech earlier, we
What would we call it? Wonderful.
I thought it was good. I thought it was good.
Wonderful.
I think it was good.
Just kidding, Michael.
Sure about that?
sure
Sure
about
about
that.
Just trying to do some Larry David.
But we are co-hosting and organizing an event with Monnik Beer Company that's going to benefit Kentucky Humane Society. We had this idea, like Michael mentioned, over a couple of beers of like, hey, what if we put pictures of dogs on a beer label and everybody loves their dog? So what we did was
Jeez.
we semi-auctioned off spaces on a beer can at a set price of like $100, and was like, hey, if you donate to Humane, we'll draft your dog picture onto a beer can, make it mosaic style. We'll wrap that up, and then we'll debut it at this Dog Days of Summer event. That is August
5th.
5th. So yeah, coming up right around the corner.
I also was a little bit worried because we had conversations about, okay, people are going to be sending us like potato phone, like pictures of their dogs. Everybody crushed it. So if you guys participated in Dog Days, you're all cinematography skills with your dogs, A+. Yeah, all the pictures we got were adorable. It went together like Kismet, and we saw the proofs of the label. We saw the pictures of the actual delivered label today or yesterday. They look awesome.
Yeah, and we were able to raise just on the label alone, minus cost, I guess, but around $1,800 for Humane, and then Monnik's going to donate a portion of their sales back from everything you buy that day. So we hope to give a big old fat check to Kentucky Humane Society. They'll be out there with dogs as well to adopt. It is maybe going to be hot, but starting early in the afternoon.
It's a Dog Day of Summer.
Yeah, come out.
And
You gotta do
yeah,
something.
we have different competitions going on, I believe. Like maybe
There's a
best
dog
dress.
show.
Waggiest tail. We did one year dog that looks like most like their owner, like the Best in Show thing. That was fun.
Shout out John Cates and his dog.
yeah.
Silly. He doesn't listen to this show. It's fine.
So come hang out. It's going to be really, really fun. It's an event that happened pre-COVID. It hasn't happened for a few years, so coming back strong.
And if you buy the beer with the label on it, that also goes back to Humane.
Mhm.
And then next year, get in a little earlier, get your dog on that beer label.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll do more. I don't know. But it's a great fundraiser. All in all, it's like a $1,800 beer label. So that may be the most expensive beer label in the world.
Probably is. And then something else coming up that I mentioned earlier, hinted at earlier, was the Steins on Main Oktoberfest event, September 30th, in partnership with Little Downtown Partnership and Against the Grain Brewery. We will be at the repurposed lot for an SB11 style event where it's open to the public, kind of like a street festival kind of gig where you just walk in. If you want to buy a beer from a brewery, you are welcome to do so. We'll have entertainment, music, hopefully, German games, MCs.
I've got a giant stump in my yard that you guys have told me not to get rid of for like 3 months now. It's trying to grow back into a tree, but
Hammerschlagen.
we're gonna do some Hammerschlagen.
Although, can we call it Hammerschlagen? Wasn't there a trademark issue with Hammerschlagen like 2 years ago?
Bergenschlagen, Unterbergschlagen. Let's
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bergschlagen.
Bergenschlagen.
There'll be pretzels, food, etc. Gravely will be there.
We will.
You'll be serving up Oompah. I
This
assume.
is
Yeah.
delicious.
It might be a little cask action. Need to talk to Nick about that. I'm sorry, Nick.
I would love that.
Yeah, you're speaking my language.
Cask beer,
I know.
yeah.
Anybody ever tries to like know my love language, it's cask ale. And whenever I try to talk to anybody about it, they're like, "Oh, cask ale's stupid." I'm like, you're stupid.
It's fine when it's
Yes.
fresh.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It needs to be fresh. That's the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Pop some spigots that day though.
Pop some spigots.
Also going on in Louisville, same day as Dog Day, right? It's August the 5th is the Hops on the Hill at Mile Wide. They have that beautiful outdoor space
It's a parking lot.
that theirs is on the top of, so it is on a hill. Well, it's still beauty is in the
It's
eye of the
it's a
beholder.
large.
That was my first beer fest.
All right,
last
it's
year.
beautiful when
great
there's a
parking
lot
lot.
of collab beers being released on that day. So if you guys haven't checked that one out, you know the collaboration partners, don't you?
There's a few. They pick several each year. This year, notably Dissolver, and I'm not going to remember the other
Streetside.
two. Streetside. So there's one from Northern Kentucky, one from Asheville, and then
St. Louis.
oh yes, Four Hands.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, good call. So yeah, they've regionally sourced different collabs to be out that day. They'll be there pouring a little bit of their beer, but mostly the festival beer. It's a great time. The
Mhm.
whole day is just one big party, and it goes on way through the night. Pace yourself, but
So come hang out with dogs and then do your like after party at
and
Hops
then
on
do
the
your
Hill.
after party.
Yeah. We're no strangers to going to Hops on the Hill after another festival. Previously last year, last 2 years, Fraser Beer Festival was on the same day as Mile Wide Hops on the Hill. So we would go work the Fraser Beer Festival and then go to Mile Wide, and it was a fun filled day of beer. This year, attendees going to Fraser Beer Festival won't have that issue. It's a little bit earlier in the week, and actually by the time this podcast comes out, it will have already happened. So just cheers and good vibes to Fraser Beer Festival. Hope you all have fun and enjoy.
Yeah, beer festival downtown is always a good call.
It's a good one last year.
Talk to me about Bourbon and Beyond.
Bourbon and Beyond and Louder in Life are now marketed as 8 days of summer fun, which is an understatement because the amount of shows you can see in those 8 days could encompass a lifetime of acts. Bourbon and Beyond in particular, Michael's holding the card here, but there's a gamut of people from all the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah, hosted right outside the Kentucky Expo Center at the Highland Festival grounds, September 14th through the 17th. That's 4 days right there of music festivals. And I'm not saying like there's no offense to like just like local music festivals, but these are some heavy hitting names.
Yeah.
First night alone, here are the headliners: Brandy Carlisle,
Oh shit.
Billy Strings,
Yep.
Train.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, The Killers,
Yep.
Duran,
Ooh.
Hosier. Saturday, Black Keys,
Yeah.
Black Crows,
Yep. Ooh.
Avett Brothers. Sunday, Bruno Mars, Blondie. I don't know these other people. It's fine, but they're gonna be great. I'm most excited for Brandy Carlisle. David and I were talking about that a second ago. It's that I went to that show last year.
Isn't Spoon coming?
Yeah,
Spoon's awesome.
Spoon's gonna
That's
be
my
there.
that's my generation music jam.
Yeah. I mean, the Lone Bellow, Two Runner, the Twisted Pine, Old Crow Medicine Show.
Yeah, Old Crow, Billy Strings, and Avett Brothers. That would be a ticket for me.
It also
too.
runs so well, by the way. It's run really well.
It's a great festival, and like truly, like I love music. I love live music, but I'm not like somebody that like lives and dies by going to music festivals. This is one that I believe that everybody from any interest in music would enjoy and should travel to Louisville for.
And there's a lot of other good stuff to do there because they always have. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of bourbon to drink, and there's like cocktails.
The
and there's
activations
beer.
on the bourbon
Yes,
side
they
of it
have.
are fantastic. There's like a whole like tent village of each distillery. They all have their little like I want to say maybe like 20 by 10 or 20 by 20 space, and they can build that into their own unique experiences
with air conditioning.
Yeah,
It's
that's
pretty
a good point.
awesome. You go escape there. It's great.
But then you also have panels too from different
Right.
culinary
It's good
artists,
food.
some spirit producers. They're there up on talking on a different stage saying, hey, this is a collab that we did as two distilleries. And you don't always get to hear about those stories that much. It's very prevalent in the beer scene, but when distilleries talk about it, it's a little more eye-opening. So I'm really excited for that.
And continuing our series of announcing our Louisville Beer Week 2023 collaboration partners, every year we do challenge the Louisville breweries to a random draw collaboration beer that will be released in October. This year's Louisville Beer Week is going to be October 20th through the 27th, so go ahead and jot that down on your calendars. But we've been releasing them one by one, and since we have David on the show tonight, I figured we would announce this year's collaboration with Gravely is going to be with Hometown Brewing Company.
That's right, y'all.
Yep. I'm excited for that.
Putting Pete's on the mash. I'm kidding.
I hope you're not,
okay.
because I'm here for it.
Kidding. I don't brew. I sell.
And the theme of Louisville Beer Week this year, we're calling it Around the World in 8 Days. And the idea is to not only have these brewery collaboration pairings, but for all of the brewery partners to partner with a local restaurant that specializes in either like immigrant owned or like international based food. Because in addition to a great beer scene, Louisville also has an amazing food scene. A lot of that's kind of like, Southern comfort food, stuff like that. But a lot of food in Louisville that is amazing is from our immigrant community. So the goal is to have a lot of different beers with a lot of different restaurant partners that literally can give you a taste of every different culture around the world, all here at home.
And that could be taken in so many different ways, whether it's a true quote unquote collab between the restaurant and the brewery, or maybe it's the brewery inspired by a particular dish that one of their, maybe the brewer goes to lunch here twice a week. Or maybe it's hey, we're going to do a collab on this beer. And then if you have the ability to serve alcohol at your restaurant, we'll do like a beer pairing and dinner, whatever you want to do as a brewer in Louisville. That's something that we just want to encourage you all to do, because it's going to be fun.
And David, you haven't been here long, but I've been like stalking you on your global food journey of Louisville. And especially with, like when you went to El Moquete.
Oh, that rib dish was great.
You found it?
Oh yeah, it was delicious. It's fantastic. It's the closest thing to my mom's version of that dish. It was great.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Any other good comfort home food or any other like international food or favorite restaurants in Louisville you've found since you've been here?
I now have this like craving for ramen house, even when it's in like 90 something degrees. I can go for that
It
all the
still
time.
hits.
Yeah, it slaps.
Mid-City Mall, right by the theater or whatnot. Yeah, Ramen House is fantastic.
Yeah. Also, Steven and Stevens, man. Oh man.
Yeah,
That's
it's
solid.
like almost the closest thing to a New York style deli, I would
yes.
say. And so that's right behind Ditto's for people who don't know. You see Ditto's when you drive down Bardstown Road, but Stevens and Stevens is the blood of that building. That place is freaking awesome.
Also, that smash burger at Toasties, y'all. Like, it's a thing.
It's pretty good.
Totally a thing.
What I just put in front of you is a global dining passport that we worked with the city on
What?
last year.
Oh, that's more Louisville news we can
Dude,
announce.
thank you for this.
Maybe.
That got approved today. I got the email.
Get
I
out
didn't
of
tell you
here.
guys
So
about
this
it
is
yet.
fresh?
So that is a physical print that we made about a year ago. Last summer, we released it specifically for World Fest on the Belvedere.
Mhm.
The city, specifically the then Office of Globalization.
Now Immigrant Affairs, I think.
I think,
Okay.
they changed the name. They were just like, hey, you've done such a good job highlighting beer. We also want you to highlight the food scene in a similar way. And so we did that project. We picked 30 different restaurants, 10 different cuisines, 3 restaurants in each category, just to highlight kind of the best of Louisville. We didn't just pick one area. It's not like they were all in Nulu hanging out.
Okay.
They weren't
All
all
spread
just in
over.
the Highlands. It is all spread over Louisville.
Because so there was a focus too on having not all of them because it's just about the cuisine, but we did want to put some emphasis on like immigrant owned or like second generation immigrant owned businesses, and all the good shit is not like where all the good breweries are. There's a lot of good shit in the like brewery district, but to get the really good stuff, you're going down to Southern Parkway or you're going out
All
like
the
a
way
little
down
down to
on
Front
Preston.
Creek or
Right.
yeah.
But we are lucky, man. We're lucky to have this like a whole enclave of immigrants that are like different from where I'm from. So like Señora Arepa is like, wow, those arepas that's insane. Great food. Not to mention the Cuban community here. I've never
Yes,
seen a larger
fantastic.
Cuban community.
Shout out
ever.
to Sweet Havana. Like
that's a good bakery.
Yeah.
The very first place when we first launched this project, I was like, all right, I need to go to this restaurant to get some photos, get more information on who they are and what they do. Is literally the only name it had was Cuban Restaurant and Bakery.
I love that, by
Number
the way.
4.
And it was way down, Preston Highway. Walked in, ordered the biggest meal of my life for probably like $6 and ate it there just happily. Like it was so good. And I feel like so many people in Louisville don't know about those places. So that passport program is now expanding
Excited.
into a digital format that I guess we can talk about now.
It's
John
official
says.
as of today. He
Whoa.
texted, he
Breaking
emailed
all
back and
sorts of
said,
news.
our proposal is approved.
Cool. We're bringing all sorts of news. It's great.
So-
Good pod.
Yes, that physical book can soon be found online eventually in a map format, which means that it is a living and breathing experience. We can update as we see fit. We can add new restaurants as we are directed to. It's going to be fun. We can expand this program, tenfold.
And I would say that was the other like main challenge of when we were putting all this together because we had to do it in a print book. So I think we had to limit it to like 30 or something like
Yeah,
that.
it was
But
30.
We had
Yeah.
like a
started with
spreadsheet
the
going
list
of like
of,
a
like-
couple like 150 or something.
Yeah, the list was incredibly difficult to
Yeah.
whittle down. And then when we got here, it was like, all right, here's the plan. The plan is a bad plan, but we're all just going to pick 1 or 2 or 3, and then we're going to plot them on the map. And if they're not too close together, then we're going to keep going. So if you didn't say it already, we did 10 cuisines,
Yeah.
3 restaurants in each cuisine. And that's kind of how we structured it. But
Broadly.
as Michael mentioned, like this program going digital, hopefully we can be able to highlight as John mentioned, like 100 plus restaurants in Louisville that support this kind of economic like development in our food culture, which is fantastic.
Yeah, because I feel like there's a lot of gems out here. But you need there needs to be a social platform. But I know that like if you're a talented chef and running
Yeah.
a business, that's maybe social media is not your thing.
That's what because a lot of these places are literally just like family owned. Like
Exactly.
it's like Vietnam Kitchen's a good example. Like it's the people who came over here, opened the restaurant. I think it's now in second generation running and managing it. But like they're not going to do a
No, that's
Facebook
not-
page. Like
No.
they're not going to do like a website.
And I'll say this, like Kathmandu is actually like a really
Mhm.
I will say like slightly upscale restaurant. It's very nicely decorated. It's very clean. Like you were walking in, you're just like, oh wow, I'm having a little date night or whatever to myself. And you're just like, I don't think they have a social media presence. They don't have a website. It's just something that they're doing out on the other end of Bardstown Road, and they're just happy to be there. And they've been doing it for a long time.
That's what I love. I mean, I've been to restaurants out here that I've been to Japan, and there's restaurants out here in the middle of Kentucky that'll just give you that whole blown experience, like to a couple from Japan themselves. They can hardly speak English, and they have some of the best experiences. They're driving up to northern Kentucky to pick up fish from the hub, and then bringing it down, and you're just having this experience. It's just out of this planet, man. Like, it's great. Kentucky's awesome, man.
Fun fact on the reverse side of that, I believe in Osaka, there is a Kentucky themed
Get the fuck
restaurant
out
in
of here.
Japan. And
Really?
by Kentucky theme, I mean University of Kentucky theme. So even more than
Go Cats!
That is only in
Katos.
Japan, dude. Only in Japan would they be that. So I was in the Golden Guy in Japan. They were like, hey, we overheard you're from LA. There's a bar that's an all LA bar. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? And then you walk in, there's a bunch of douchebags like, yeah, they're all from LA. It's like, oh, it actually felt kind of like home. It was kind of good. It's kind of great.
Walk up, they're like, what do you want,
Good for
bro?
the Japanese. Like, yeah,
What do you
exactly. I was
want,
like, where are you from?
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's great.
All right, so I'd have one more piece of Louisville news that I'd like to share with you
This
guys.
is national news.
Yeah, this is actually national news. Where you have your little taster nearby, Michael?
yes,
All right. So taste first, ask questions later.
great.
Interesting.
That's what
Interesting.
I'm always told
Very-
before something bad happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, precisely.
I think that's how Malort was introduced.
Yeah, that's a great.
It was for me.
By Nick, actually.
Really?
Nick gave David his first shot of Malort during
Nick?
CBC.
This is an
Nick Felton?
anti shout out. Yeah.
Nick, the stick, Felton? Really?
Nick the Stick Felton walked over
Wow.
to us after a few beers and was like, hey, I bought you guys shots. And I was like, wow, dude. That's like, we don't do shots, we drink beer. And he's like, yeah, but like, I don't really, I'm not sure. The bartender didn't really like tell me what I got, but I know what I ordered. I'm not sure if it's just quite that. And I was like, this sounds like I'm getting roofied. Like, I don't like it.
But then
And I detest Malort. Like, it's not. It's like
It's not good.
I equivalent it to cigarettes, where I'm like, everyone's like, you should do this, and I'm like, no, it's bad. It's bad for you. Like, you don't like this, and everyone's like, no, but you should try it, and I'm like, no, because then what if I like it? Then I'm a psychopath and I'm killing myself.
Yeah.
Anyhow, he hands Michael and I these shots, and I'm like, okay, and I kind of smell it, and I'm like, God, this is like either the worst vodka in the entire world that I've ever smelled.
That's a little slightly brown.
Yeah, and I was like, what? Well, it was dark, to be fair. And I look at Michael, who's had Malort many times, and I was like, what is this? And he just kind of like raises it to his nose, takes a little sniff, and he's like, yeah, I don't know, man. And I'm like, okay. So I, Nick, because I trust him, at this point, and I'm like, all right, fine, let's do this. So we take a little shot, and I'm like, that is the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth. Like, if a rubber factory excreted
immediately
liquid,
started
Perfect.
laughing.
put it in my mouth, and he was like,
Yeah.
it's Malort. Like,
To me, it just seems like burnt herbs. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, ugh, yeah.
Chicago sewer
A
water.
little death
Yeah.
in there, yeah.
Anyway,
right.
give this a little sip,
All right,
and
what
then
we doing? Sniff and sip.
That's not what this is. This
Mm.
is, yeah.
That'd
This
be
is
hilarious.
the number one winner of the National Homebrew Convention Pale Malty European Beer.
Ooh.
The number one from the
guys.
National Homebrew Competition. The number one. This was.
Did
Yeah,
you
you
just
said
repeat
it.
exactly what I said?
Well, I just wanted to make clear that it's a big deal. So the NHC is the National Homebrew Competition, and a lot of we're here sitting in a homebrew shop. So there's a ton of great homebrewers in Louisville, Kentucky, and the Kentucky region in general. So goddamn shout out to Alex Ramirez. This is
Great.
his. He calls it a fest beer.
So who is that?
Alex
Uh,
Rosmersky.
What?
Alex Rosmersky.
Yeah, Rosmersky. Thank you.
Great little malt expression on this thing.
Yeah, that's unique.
It's balanced, it's dry, it's clean, it's delicious, and it won first goddamn place
So
in the
Alex
National
lives in Louisville.
Homebrew
What are you
doing,
Competition.
Alex?
Alex lives in Louisville. He's a
Yeah,
patron of your
long time
shop.
homebrewer, excellent dude, makes fantastic stuff. Not only makes good Oktoberfests, but makes excellent like IPAs, hazy IPAs, porters, you name it. Just a really, really, really good brewer, a really good dude, and I'm super, super happy that he won this. It'll be published in Zymergy, his recipe. We have it in the stack over there now, so we have Alex's Fest beer as one of the shop staples. It's really good. And I also have to give a shout out to Evan Brill, who won the 3rd place in the national competition with his, I think it was an American Pilsner or Blonde Ale, but it won 3rd in light American beer category. So,
John, this
shout
homebrewing
outs.
competition, is it a national? What's the story on the homebrewing competition?
So national homebrew competition, I think, was started by Charlie Papazian back in like 1930s.
So it's all the groups.
Yeah, and so all the local homebrew clubs can submit, or any individual can submit, but you can also like plug your homebrew club or kind of submit as a club or whatever. I think they do a Pro-Am series as well, perhaps, but it's pretty much like the goddamn World Cup of homebrew.
And where's Ramirez? Where's his entry from?
Right here at home. He made this. He came in here, he bought the shit, and he went home and made it, and he won 1st place in the goddamn USA. So
Really,
yeah.
who won? Did Brewgrass Homebrew Supply win?
Oh no.
Louisville wins, bruh.
Louisville.
So I would, and even with his recipe, like in our stack or whatnot, it's not. You can attest to this as well, but nothing about the ingredients really matter that much. Nothing about the recipe really matters that much. You want to put focus on those things, because if they're lacking, the beer is going to suffer. But it's all about the love, and it's all about taking care of your yeast, and it's all about making sure that everything's clean and everything's like paid attention to. Nothing is lacking in the process.
I mean, you could be staring at a home brewer's journal or professional brewer's journal, and it's not like you're going to get any trade secrets out of there.
Yeah.
Like, you're just going to see that, hey, yeah, this is the recipe, and then you might brew it and it's going to be a completely different beer, because that's just how that works.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So big shout out. You done us proud. You done us proud, Alex and Evan, and all of the Louisville Loggers Club.
Sweet.
And because
That's all I got.
Because John said shout out Louisville Loggers Club. David,
There's a lager club?
yeah,
Yeah, that's our local
Loggers.
homebrew club, Louisville Loggers. That'll be. I'll put it in the show notes. Local homebrew club. They do brew-ins around. They do meetings usually once a month, typically at Akasha, but they have a lot of other events and stuff that they do as well. So yeah, check out
What
the
does
Loggers.
Loggers stand for, John?
Louisville All Grain
Louisville Area
And-
Grain Extract
and Research Society.
That
Yeah.
is badass.
There you go.
Badass. I thought I was like, what, Louisville? That is badass.
It's all like, and then there's Fossils, which is like, I can't even remember the Southern Indiana Fossils.
Fermentation
of Southern
Indiana
Southern Indiana.
L Logger Society. I don't know.
We had the Maltese Falcons.
Ooh, that's good. That's really good. I like
That's
that.
what. Yeah.
good.
Hey,
Shout
that's
out
good
to
for
Reese
San
Borland,
Francisco
everybody.
too.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
that was where that movie was, right?
Yeah.
Humphrey Bogart.
So yeah, we
That's
actually
amazing.
we hosted them in the Anchor tap room a few times because they won the competition. So they would get a trip to Anchor Brewing and get to check out the whole place and drink.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So the tour at Anchor, actually, you could drink all you want after the tour.
Oh.
It's pretty awesome.
Sounds like a good tour.
Yeah.
We don't want to take up too much more of your time tonight. We really thank you
it's
for
a good
coming
time.
on
Yeah.
and chatting a little about. But do you have anything coming up that you'd like people to know about, whether it be, Gravely related or just David related?
I mean, just looking forward to working with you guys this season. Oktoberfest is my favorite thing since moving here. October is my favorite month now
Have you
since
been
moving
to
here.
the German American Club yet?
It was because of you guys.
Yeah.
I had my first pig knuckle there. That was awesome. The schnitzel was no joke. Yeah, I'm telling you guys, there's no such thing like that in LA. So this is my first or my second time going around for the October, and I'm excited for it. I'm going to do all the Oktoberfest things.
Heck yeah. David, what do you got to plug?
I will plug the SAG Guild. Okay.
Oh,
Nicely
sure.
done.
I've seen more movies in the last 2 months than I've seen in the last 4 years of my
Look at
life,
this.
probably.
Are we going to watch movies together now?
Yeah, we can.
I mean,
we definitely
best
watch
friends
movies.
right now?
Baxter
But
Avenue's open.
I can tell
They
you
have beer.
that the production quality of movies is getting tremendously, in my opinion, better. And you can pay these fuckers, so it wouldn't be what it was without hundreds of people breaking their back to
I think
make this correct. So it just come on, guys.
Isn't the last time a strike like this happened like right in like the early 80s?
Yeah, it was. So the last time that both the actors and the writers striked at the same time was, I think, 1983.
Because film was moving to television, and they were like, we need to renegotiate this shit because But that's kind of what's happening now, and I think that's why it's come back.
That's right. That's where residuals came from.
Yeah.
Right. That does.
And so now it's like none of this stuff. I mean, everybody still goes to movie theaters, but a lot of the revenue comes from when you put that shit on like Netflix or Amazon or like. But then they're also producing their own shows like Amazon and Netflix and these.
They're buying shows that have already been produced.
Also, shout out to Louisville and for the people showing up to the movies for Oppenheimer and Barbie. Like I can't find a ticket, and I'm a big movie fan,
nice.
and I can't find a ticket. That makes me really happy. That Louisville's showing up to the movie theater. That's a really big deal. Real big deal for me, at least. Yeah.
We have a lot. I mean, I went to a theater last week for one of the Indiana Jones, the new Indiana Jones, and I went to the Escape in Jeffersonville, which is a theater that I didn't even know existed.
Great
over there.
programming at the Escape in that area.
Yeah.
You can play laser tag. You can play bumper cars. I think
that's main event.
But I don't know these
John,
things.
what do you got to plug?
I don't know. I don't have anything. Did I already plug possums? I think I did that a few weeks ago.
I don't.
What have I been doing this week?
Been dainty.
I'm just gonna plug PVC pipe and gold spray paint. Yeah,
dainty batting cage.
Yeah.
Season.
Looking forward to Dainty.
I fought with that net today, like all day.
All right,
Muller and I.
what is dainty? And
It's a German street game. It's
How-
apparently in the book East of Eden, which I never remembered. But in East of Eden, they play it. They call it like
no way.
Pitsy Sweek or something. Like yeah. It's not. They don't call it dainty.
Fucking East of Eden tattoo.
He's
on
gonna
my arm
fact check
now. I
that
don't
right
believe
now.
that.
We're fact checking it on the spot.
It's a Schnitzelberg thing. It's the 53rd year. It's a tiny piece of a broom weaned down to a peen, getting hit with another piece of a broom weaned down to a peen.
Wean to a peen.
Yeah, smacked down an alley.
How old do you have to be to play though?
45. 45.
Alrighty.
Yeah, so I've been doing that all
Wow.
week, and it sucked up a tremendous amount of time. But it's worth it. It's fun. It's good. And that's kind of that like Louisville vibe. There's a lot of community stuff. 38, I think.
All right, so
I'll be
you have
38 next.
So you have some
month.
time.
Yeah.
To figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And once you figure it out, you'll teach me.
Yeah. Well, I built a batting cage, so I've got like
really?
and I'm still fucking terrible at it. Like nobody can be good at it. It's all just smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, good luck to dainty. I'm, by the time this podcast comes out, it will have already happened.
One and done.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Alrighty.
next Monday.
Yep.
All right.
This upcoming Monday.
I missed it last year, so I can't miss it this one.
No,
definitely go.
it's the most fun you'll have on a Monday.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Last Monday in July every year.
I'll finish my meeting with Nathaniel and head right over.
On my end, we'll just keep it with the movie trend and just say Barbenheimer. I didn't do the double feature. I saw 2 of the movies in 3 days. I saw Barbie.
Like 3 hours long.
Yep.
That's a long day.
Barbie was just under 2 hours. Oppenheimer was just under 3 hours before credits, or after credits. I don't think I could have done it in one day. That would have been a hard ask. Quick thoughts. Oppenheimer is a fantastic film. Everything about it was damn near perfect. I probably won't be watching it again anytime soon. Barbie was fun. That has rewatchability. It was just funny, and there were strong moments.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. I would just say so if you're a female or a mother or a daughter, like you're going to connect to the film more so than I did, but at the same time, it is totally possible for a guy to walk in there and appreciate what is happening on the screen.
I watched it by myself.
Not me, bro.
I love that this beer podcast has now turned into a movie podcast. Nice.
I would love to do
Mission
a movie.
Half the
love
time it's a
complete.
movie podcast. We spent like
Mission
20
complete.
minutes or 30 minutes or 40 minutes
I'll do
talking
a
about
movie
Fifth
podcast.
Element.
Mission complete. We already have the microphones. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, you guys
Hey,
heard
everybody,
it here
welcome
first.
to Kentucky.
Yeah, all right. We're starting a new podcast.
Kentucky Fried
David Castellon.
Movie Hour or whatever.
But no, I was so impressed by both movies, and the fact that
John, let's go.
the fact that they both kind of came together and did the joint marketing program to say, hey, this is going to be fun for everybody. Just come on out.
Okay, maybe we'll just end the episode. But what I heard was that they did that because Christopher Nolan had a deal with WB, and then like it all changed, and so they're like, you know what, we're going to release Barbie on the same day as your movie. But then for whatever reason, like fate brought it all back together, and both movies did. Is this false?
Yes. So he lost a ton of money on Tenet. It was a $200 million movie that flopped.
Which is amazing. Like Tenet's
It's
great.
a good movie,
It's
actually. Yeah.
fantastic. It's fantastic. It's the last time you're going to see a jumbo jet get crashed into a building and blow the hell up.
And it actually happened.
And it was
Because
crazy
it's Nolan.
action
There's
on
no
a
CGI.
on a crazy level. Again, like we have to. The reason I brought this like thing too was just to talk about movies. Also, like Quentin Tarantino just made it a movie in L.A. that was the most L.A. movie ever.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it's
I was
really
there with
good.
my car. They had to tell me, get out of the way. You're in the shot. And I was like, I'm here. I'm going to stay here for the rest of the shoot. But these are the last few dudes doing non-CGI movies. It's an art that's going to get lost here in a few years.
Yeah.
And so thank you. Thank Nolan. Thank you.
You're forgetting Wes Anderson.
Oh, man. Great movie.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I haven't seen Asteroid City. I've heard mixed reviews, but I'm looking forward to seeing
I
it.
need to see it a second time.
Okay.
How
do you guys have the time to watch all this shit?
Movie Pass?
Yeah.
All right.
That's, yeah. It's also just an hour. and
Make
a
it
half,
priority.
too.
Yeah.
On that note, because John complained about movies, I'm going to go watch one right now. So again,
I got to pee.
yeah, David, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Appreciate you guys. It's fun. Can't wait to come back.
We're going to go live stream Oppenheimer. So 3 hours live stream on our YouTube
We should.
channel. Go
Yeah.
subscribe.